Jesus, you guys. If I'm late 2 minutes, you already start springing out. Just wait a little bit. My God. But now you get to see me trying to put the chat on the phone because you were so panicking. It's like, why isn't V here? What will I do with my life if he doesn't appear within the next 2 minutes? What if he doesn't come here at all? Reminds me when I used to go to the theater with my parents. They never started on time. Usually they would be like 30 minutes late. And nowadays I see that the new generation has more standards than that of my parents' generation and my grandparents. All right, so welcome to the morning show. I'm streaming it in the morning now because I flipped over my sleeping schedule. I wake up at 5 a.m. now and I go to bed at 9 p.m., which is kind of interesting. It's very interesting because you wake up so refreshed and you can do a lot more things. And you also get to have a lot more energy because you're exposed to the sunlight. It's very important to be exposed to the sunlight. I know that it doesn't sound like much, but trust me, it cures depression. That vitamin D really does help. People with a nighttime schedule, it's probably why they get a little bit of a bonus for being working during the night. It does affect your entire health and your mood especially. Like you feel a lot more depressed, down, low energy during the night. Even if you're getting a lot of sleep, right? Like if you sleep during the day, it's not the same like sleeping during the night when you're supposed to. So anyway, right, apparently it's 1 a.m. somewhere where Jim lives. I guess this is a good hour to stream then. Maybe I can stream 1 hour earlier and then it would be like 12 for the Americans. And you guys can watch me as well because I got a lot of American subscribers. And I do try to provide entertainment and content for you guys as well. But right now, I guess this is the European stream. This is the Good Morning Europe. And I do have something interesting as soon as I manage to get this taco out of my eye. What? How did it get in there? A piece of dust, a speck of dust getting into my glasses. All right. Morning hours are the real man hours. Oh no, they're the grandpa hours. Like every single old person that I knew used to wake up at these hours. And it's like, how do they manage? Why? Like, your entire life, you want sleep. And then when you finally reach a venerable age and you're supposed to get a pension and you can do whatever you want, you decide to wake up early. Like, how does that work? Right? Like, literally, every single moment since I turned 7 and I had to go to kindergarten, every single moment up until now, the worst time period of my life was during the mornings, having to wake up early, right? So you're finally like, oh my God, I can hardly wait for me to get some sleep. You know, like when I'm going to be an old man and I'm going to get pension, I'm going to get some sleep. And what ends up happening is like when you're an old man, you wake up early. Like why couldn't you have that power when you were younger? Hello, Resnick78. Welcome to the show. It's a biological thing. Yes, I know, unfortunately. I do know about the fact that elderly people sleep less than young people. All right. So, why is there a bird screaming its guts out outside of my window? By the way, I don't understand like people who go like, oh my God, the birds sound so lovely this morning. They are little critters which are screaming out of the top of their lungs that they're starving or they want to fuck. Okay? If you don't know how to speak bird, I just translated to you. That's why birds are screaming. Either because they're wanting to have sex or they're starving. Sometimes both at the same time. I just ruined nature for you. It is like the more knowledge you have, the least likely it is you enjoy nature, right? Because when you're a kid, it's like, oh, the beautiful songs that they're making. Oh, they're singing such a beautiful melody. And when you're an adult, oh, they want to fuck. Or they're trying to intimidate another bird that's on their territory. They're trying to bully the bird away. Yes. I got 100 little chirping birds out the window each morning. Yes, but normally I don't care. But when I'm recording a video, I do want to hear myself think rather than hear that little... What is it? I think it's a sparrow. That little sparrow like screaming. Probably because some other bird is destroying its nest. That is a thing that happens. Anyway, right? Let's look at this. So this is John Travolta creepy kiss. Wasn't John Travolta a homosexual? Like, can you say homosexual nowadays, or is it problematic? Like, you have to say LGBTQ. It's not even LGBT, it's LGBTQ plus. Plus what? Plus extra. Plus ultra. LGBTQ plus ultra. But can you still say homosexual? Because, like, that's what I want to talk about, okay? I don't want to talk about the transgender people, the non-binary individual, the queers, and whatever the plus has. No, I just want to talk about the homosexuals right now. And the reason I want to talk is because I want to ask whether or not John Travolta is a homosexual man. Does he like cock? Because it's important for this story. Whether or not John Travolta likes the sausage plays an important part when talking about the creepy kiss he gave to Scarlett Johansson. Travolta had a child. Okay, so he's not homosexual then. Unless it was an immaculate conception, like Jesus. Or maybe he is hiding it. There are homosexual people throughout the course of history, even a couple of kings, which in order to hide their power level, they would have a marriage, and it was just a marriage for the public. But behind closed doors, they had, what do you call them? Concubines. Yes, concubines. So, okay, he's not a homosexual. Because that's what I remembered when I was a kid. I think South Park made fun of this. It was John Travolta and another actor. I forgot the name of the other guy. But, like, there were a lot... The reason I remember this is that in my neighborhood, there were a lot of ladies. And it was customary then for ladies to have a famous actor. You know, they would put posters with the Backstreet Boys and stuff. I guess it's like the waifu version of a woman. The waifu version of a teenage girl that, doesn't have access to animu. So they would look at famous actors. And they would have, like, pictures with the Backstreet Boys. And they would have pictures with, whom else? Michael Jackson. That was before my time, though. Well, actually, no, because in Romania, we didn't have access to Michael Jackson until the Iron Curtain fell, so. But yeah, so Tom Cruise, yes. Thank you. Tom Cruise, yes. John Travolta and Tom Cruise. These were the ones that a lot of women were upset as the rumors went by that they prefer men. And I don't know why. Like, it's such a weird thing if you think about it, right? Because if you're an ushikushi teenage girl living in Romania, there is no way in hell that John Travolta is going to be interested in you. So it's like a fantasy. It's like liking Pokimane. Except you don't have to give John Travolta super chats, right? So you're never going to be with him. Like, he is just there for, I don't even know, like, visual aid, I suppose. Can we say that, right? Like, he is just eye candy on your wall as a poster. That's it, right? So if you find out that he is gay, like, who cares? And in a way, like, all these girls were more upset with the fact that there was rumors of him being gay than they would have been upset if he passed away. Like, if he or being mad at, like, this is another thing that blows my mind, okay? Like, this is something that I don't get. And yes, I'm jealous, because a girl that I liked when I was 12, she had the poster of John Travolta, okay? Like, and she would rather look at John than to look at me, and this actually hurt me. Okay? Like, when the left asks you on Twitter, like, who hurt you? John Travolta did. So, this girl was obsessed. And I'm like, okay, so if he would have died, she wouldn't have cared. I understand that. If he got married, she wouldn't have cared. But the moment she found out that he's gay, she took that poster down. And I'm like, but why, Chiquita, mi amor? Why you do this? Like, what is the rational explanation behind this? What is the Vulcan logic that you have for doing this? Like, it's not like you're going to get his attention anyway. Amakudo, thank you for becoming a member. I guess you don't want to give that $5 super chat every time you come in, so now you do it automatically, like the system will do it for you. I appreciate the membership, by the way. And I do appreciate your contributions, because I remember the people donating, and I also remember people in the chat. Yes. show you on the doll where John Travolta touched me, I would have to give you a picture. It would have to be a doll that looks like the girl I was in love when I was a kid. Probably my first puppy love, as they call it. Probably the first one that I had. So anyway, let's look at John Travolta. The entertainment world was horrified. This is like why I even chose to show you this. The entertainment world was horrified, okay? A kiss on the cheek. This is exactly the same way that a father kisses a daughter. Like, it's not sexual, it's like, meh. But this horrified the journalist. Like, the journalist couldn't sleep at night knowing that this has transpired. It's like, how can I live in a world where John Travolta gives a peck kiss to Scarlett Johansson? But I'm looking at it, right?
By the awkward moment, John...
And it does seem like she enjoys it. Like, it seems that there might be some knowledge going behind the scenes that the journalists aren't being privy of. I don't know. Maybe they're colleagues and they have been working together for decades. Maybe they're dating and they don't want the journalists to know. There are so many more possibilities that, oh, this is a creepy kiss. Like a smooch.
John Travolta put Scarlett Johansson through at the Oscars.
I mean, again, like, from her facial features, her body expression, it doesn't seem like this was something that she didn't like. Now, if she herself would have gone and she would have said something, yeah, fine. But looking at it, it doesn't seem, how did the left like to say it, problematic. Yeah, the fact checkers would probably come and say, missing context.
And the 61-year-old actor planted a somewhat creepy...
How is this creepy looking? The only reason it's creepy looking is because, like, look what the journalists are doing, right? Like, they're manipulating the evidence. They're tinkering with the evidence, trying to mind control you, to get you how to think about this. Because if you look at the whole kiss, right? Look at her expression in the still photo that they chose. But if you look at this one, hold on, let's go back to the
entertainment
smooch
world was horrified by the awkward moment John Travolta
right, like she's smiling. Hold on.
to put Scarlett Johansson through at the Oscars.
I mean, look, if they would have chosen this picture instead,
Through at the Oscars.
If they would have chosen this picture instead, completely different vibe. Completely different thing that the public would have thought. Like, it's so important, the thumbnail. The thumbnail is the most important thing in an article, a YouTube video, or what have you. It sets the mood, it sets the tone. Like, why didn't they show this picture? Yes, it's very dirty. Like, he peck kissed her. Very dirty. Yeah, it's only creepy looking because this is what the journalists tell you about it. It's a creepy looking kiss. Do you know what's creepy looking? Let me show you something else that's creepy looking. Give me 1 second. I need to type it into Google. All right, I got it, chat. It's here. This is creepy looking, chat. Like, this is what I would consider to be creepy looking. You know? And even in this situation, it's so difficult to decide what is happening from a single still picture. Right? Like, maybe she was scared because, like, the cameraman just came in and he grabbed her to take a picture. Like, I'm not, well, obviously, knowing the context of who this man is, like, now I can cast a judgment. But the picture is creepy looking. However, what I'm trying to say is that I know so much about entertainment and media now to be able to tell you that you can have two people sitting in a room being very happy, smiling to each other. It looks very friendly. And behind the scene, they hate each other's guts. And then you can have the opposite. You can have, like, two people that are shit-talking to each other on the stream and they're very angry to one another. And then behind the scene, they're best friends. So, it is, but my point is, like, you can't talk or cast judgment just by looking at a picture. Like, you need more context. You need to know the person. You need to, like again, like, this to me looks like they might be dating. or that they're very close colleagues. I mean, they probably worked together for decades.
And the 61-year-old actor planted a somewhat creepy-looking kiss on her cheek, his arm across her waist, and his hand kind of edging down toward her hip.
The bizarre moment created a stir, but it was the actress's response that surprised everyone the most.
I love, like, creating a stir. It's like, if the media decides to create a stir, like, the public very rarely creates a stir. My personal observation is that most stirs are created top-down. It's not like the people that are watching this, they're creating a stir and then the media picks it up. Like, very often, in fact, I would bet that 99% of the stirs are created by the corporate press. Every single time. Like, look, the Will Smith slap, okay, the most recent one. Most people were laughing about it. Like, most people were finding it the most entertaining part of the Oscars. And the only people concerned were the media. Oh my God, oh, that happened. That is so horrible. Like, wow, was he hospitalized? No. Did he get a bruise? No. Okay, well, Will Smith is a twat. Like, everyone knows that. But it was still hilarious. Like, why would he destroy his entire career over that, right? But, like, again, it was a snooze fest. And that was the most entertaining thing that happened all night. I mean, I guess, like, most people have actual lives. You know, like, most people will go to a party and they see people trash talking with each other, or sometimes, you know, shoving each other or something like that. Again, if it was something bad, like, let's, I mean, the guy, it was to the point where the comedian that got slapped was laughing and Will Smith that did the slap was crying. How on earth is that not funny? Like, in what situation do you know the guy that initiates the altercation and gets the hit is the one crying, and the one getting hit is the one laughing his ass off?
Of course, no one expected what she would have to say.
I have a feeling I expect what she would have to say. I haven't seen this video, but I got a feeling that I know what she is about to say.
After a situation that marked that Academy Awards ceremony.
Okay, you see the look on her face there. I mean, come on, my man. I don't know. Maybe it's all welcome. It's all good. Maybe we're misreading it, but...
I love the fact that even the journalists have a little bit of self-awareness to them. It's like, okay, well, I mean, maybe it's all good, because that's what your mind is telling you to. But then the ratings is saying, no, you need to say the other thing. Like, the ratings dictate you should say that, no, actually, it's really bad. It's creepy. Have you never seen a creepy kiss? Like, I could show you. Google creepy kiss and then compare it to this image. I'm John Travolta, and so is my wife. Oh, God.
The entertainment press couldn't understand what had happened.
Well, when is the last time the entertainment press actually understood what happened? You know, like, I can't think of a single situation where the entertainment press understood something. That sentence doesn't exist. The entertainment press understood. You know, like, that sentence, I don't think is ever going to be uttered, and hasn't been uttered in the history of mankind.
John Travolta is notorious for being a stud, but everyone...
They should get a life. Dude, this is their life. Like, this is what the press does. The press is doing this for a living. Like, they get paid money to do this.
One was puzzled by the actor's gesture, who had just turned 61 at the time.
What does that have to do with anything? What does that have? Oh, he just turned 61. Okay. Like, if he was 40, would have this changed the conversation?
First of all, don't you know that no girl wants to be touched on her stomach ever?
No girl wants to be touched on her stomach ever? Dude, tell that to my wife. She might disagree with you. Like, this is the thing, right? Like, they don't view individual people. Like, again, they don't look at this lady, Scarlett Johansson, as an individual who may have a friendship with John Travolta. Like, it may be okay for him to touch her there, but no other man, you know? No, they say, okay, no, this is a woman, right? They don't see Scarlett Johansson. They see the woman. And they open their book because they think they have figured out what womanhood is and what every single woman on the planet wants. And then they can make these statements like, no girl wants to be touched on her stomach, ever. That's not true. Okay? Every single girlfriend that I had in the past enjoyed being touched on her stomach. It depends on the relationship that you have with that particular woman.
And then the way
This is a nothing burger. Yeah, but like, look how the press is making a something burger. Look how the press is making something out of nothing.
he grabbed her face to kiss her.
That red carpet became the most talked about event of the year.
Look at this, okay? The entire year, they're talking about something that doesn't really mean anything. Like, 3 seconds, he comes behind her, gives her a kiss, walks away. She doesn't complain. No one says anything about it, right? But the press just made something out of nothing.
The actress looked stunning.
I have acid reflux due to medical conditions, says Soldio. My stomach is tender, almost 24/7. I don't want to be touched on the stomach, and I'm a guy. Well, it depends on the person, man. Like, some people like being touched there, other people don't. What the fuck? You can't make a general statement, like a sweeping statement, and say, well, no woman likes that. Like, some women like it.
But it would all be overshadowed by Travolta. The truth is that the day...
Get the fuck out. You know, like, look how they're lying. Look how they're lying. So, they're saying the actress looks stunning, but it would all be overshadowed by Travolta. Dude, I'll tell you something about both actors, YouTubers, entertainers in general, okay? The way we make money is by using our brand. So, in other words, the more people talk about us, the better it is for our business. It's kind of like, if you look at a different profession, if you're an engineer, you're renowned for how many houses you build that are good. You know, if you're an architect, sorry. If you're a doctor, you're renowned by how many patients you have cured. If you are an entertainer, you are renowned by how many people talk about you. The more people talk about you, the easier it is to seal deals. The easier it is to get good pay. How on earth is it a bad thing for her if everyone talks about her? And by the way, like in this story, she's in the positive light. Like, she's the victim, right? Like, she was sitting there and John Travolta did the smooch. If anything, this is good for her career. Like, I would like to be in that situation, okay? I would like for John Travolta to come in, touch my stomach, rub my belly, and kiss me on the cheek. Give me that mwah, mwah. And then have the press talk about it for a year. Holy shit, like, I would pay money for that, actually. I would pay John. It's like, hey, John, how much do you want? 5,000? You know what? I'll make a bank loan, because I'll probably make more money in exchange for that. I'll probably get, like, a lot more people watching my channel if I get that happening. Travolta can touch my stomach any day. Yes!
The truth is that the days went by until Johansson dropped a bombshell that surprised everyone.
Yeah, because the press didn't actually ask her. Like, no one bothered asking her. Because, like, obviously it doesn't matter what she thinks, right? Like, what matters is the ratings. But, like, if the press was literally interested in this event, they could have just phoned her, right? Like, they know her manager. It's got public number. It'd be like, hey, we're working for such and such, and we would like a statement. Was the kiss between you and John consensual? Like, did you feel disgusted when he did that, or did you not mind? Like, can you give us some details?
All the controversy would finally be dissipated by the actress herself.
Oh, no shit. Again, I haven't seen this. Look at it. Look what the press is doing. They actually created this image of the two, and look what a sleazy face John has. Like, look how much they're investing into pushing their narrative, okay? The reason that I'm talking about it is that this is the entertaining press, and, like, no one cares, right? It's not life-changing. But they do this in politics as well. Like, how they're creating an entire thing from a nothing burger. So they're making John, you know, look very creepy here. In order to show, oh, yes, it was a creepy kiss, look.
Thing is, what she said after
and he's leaning in slowly, as if it's Biden.
the uncomfortable moment
Yeah, sniff her hair. Sniff her hair now. Sniff it.
reflected no annoyance on her part whatsoever. On the contrary, she defended Travolta's attitude.
Who would have thought? Who would have fucking thought that she defended Travolta's attitude? How did I know, by the way? Like, I swear to God, I haven't watched this video. I do not know the ending of this video. So, like, I just looked at the whole scene and I went like, okay, well, she probably did enjoy it. Like, we would need actual context for her to say that she didn't. Because it's called body language. It's called living among humans, which the press clearly doesn't. The press lives among ideology.
The image that is circulating is an...
And look what they're doing, right? Like, they constantly, like, get the thumbnail, like, they pause the picture to make it look more creepy. They're making it black and white to look like more depressing.
An unfortunate still frame from a live-action encounter that was very sweet and totally welcome.
So the actress is saying that the encounter was very sweet and totally welcome. Oh, I see. I wonder if the press apologized. Do you think the press is going to apologize after this? Do you think John Travolta is going to get any apology? I mean, this probably affected his career at some level. You know, I'm not saying that it kept him awake at night, but, like, obviously, being caught in such a controversy isn't healthy. You know, it makes you wonder. It's like, oh, well, is this going to affect my next future film? Is this going to get some of my fans to stop watching? Are people going to consider me a rapist now? Will they reenact the crime scene?
However, the awkward moment that occurred on the red carpet between Johansson and the Grease star wasn't the only thing talked about at the Oscars. And who...
I find something interesting, right? I don't know when this took place. Like, how many years ago was this? Because I don't think this is from this year, right? Obviously. What's interesting is that they are dressing like normal human beings. The way the dresses look, they look stunning and beautiful. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, right? So, what I am trying to say is that they dress in a way that it actually looks pleasing for the eye, compared to, you know, today when actors dress like this. Look at this shit. Who dress like I'm pretty sure. All right, okay. I think I know how to explain it. There is the fashion, and then there is the fashion industry, the fashion as an institution. Fashion as an institution probably considers this to look great, but fashion as a concept, right? Like the aesthetics that a person thinks about when they're looking at another human being. When you see something like this, you would be embarrassed. Like, I would be embarrassed to see a lady walk next to me looking like this. I would either walk faster or walk slower, but like, I do not want to be associated. Looks like a fucking pier, right? And I'm willing to bet that this is very expensive, and maybe it's a good thing for people that have the inflation fetish or the war fetish, but for, like, everyone else, it looks ugly. And when you realize that she probably spent thousands of dollars on this, it's insane. And it's not the only one. I mean, look at this, right? This is how they're dressing. And the thing is, like, what the fuck is this? We're going to get into the dresses in a little bit, you know, but, like, my point is that there was a time when actors used to dress like normal people. Like, it's not even like dressed like normal people, but it looks stunning, you know? Like, I would like to see my wife wearing something like this. Like, this is actually really great. You know, you can say that, yeah, it looks expensive, it looks good class, it makes sense why someone would wear this. And then you look at today and you're like, what the hell?
Star wasn't the only thing talked about at the Oscars. And who was in the spotlight again? The same man who stole the spotlight at the start of the ceremony.
So in other words, like, this is what another thing that I see the press doing. They went after a nothing burger story, right? Like, they claim that, oh, this is so creepy, this is so weird, like what he did, you know, no woman wants to be touched on the belly, blah, 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 right? And then the woman herself comes out and says, no, it was actually a very nice and welcome gesture. So the press was wrong, and what they do is they double down. Like, they try to find something else that he did in order to, like, no, look, we're actually right. But by the way, I just want to point out something else. Imagine if John would have apologized for this. Like, had he apologized for this, No one could defend him, because then, if you try to defend him, it's like, well, he admitted that he did something wrong. So there's that. But like, okay, let's see what else that has he done now.
The same man who stole the spotlight at the start of the ceremony.
And I want to remind people that this is the same culture that's defending the US president for sniffing hair.
I deserve that. I deserve that. But you, my darling, my beautiful, my wickedly talented Adina Menzel.
You got it!
Is that right?
The singer behind the hit song Let It Go was visibly uncomfortable with John Travolta constantly groping her face. However, the strange relationship between the two dates back to 2014. The performer won the Academy Award in 2014, and it was the actor's job to introduce.
Okay, fine, like this is but like if you're hyper analyzing every single event, yeah, okay, this is a little bit creepy, you know, touching her face and whatnot. But like, they're actors, right? Like, they're supposed to act, and they're supposed to present that they're very comfortable with each other. In reality, like I'm telling you, from the entertainment industry, behind the scene, most people hate their guts. Like, I'm talking about live streamers and people that, you know, they put out a display on the outside for the audience. Like, this is something that has to get ratings. So what he is doing here is he's exaggerating. Like, I don't think he's trying to have sex with her on the stage, you know? Or to seduce her on the stage. I just think, like, they're trying to... And okay, like, sometimes it comes off good, sometimes it comes off bad. It's kind of like jokes, you know? Like, some jokes are good, some jokes are bad. But he is trying to get ratings. Like, he is trying to do certain things that are overly exaggerated, which is called theater, because he's an actor and she's an actress, right? And this is a job presenting the Oscars for other actors. But, again, no, I don't hate Sargon. But I do know other people that are friendly. Look, perfect example, VTubing community. Do you think all the HoloLive girls like each other that much? Do you think, like, they're all really good friends and that they like to bond? And I mean, there are some friendships behind the scenes. But, like, most of the time, it's like, okay, well, you have to do a collab. Like, the company tells you, you got to do a stream with this person. And you may not like that person. You may not have anything in common. You may even hate them because they're a rival. You may not like their personality, but you have to show the audience that you're, you know, really into that person and you're having chemistry and whatnot. I mean, let me just tell you how fake the VTube industry is. Don't you find it weird that almost no VTuber has a boyfriend? Like, what are the odds of that, right? Like, you got these very talented girls, and 99.9% of them are single. Like, what are the odds? So, either you're a brainlet, and you legitimately think that, oh, well, none of them have boyfriends, or they're not allowed to talk about it, right? Because what they present to the public is different than what they are in real life. Same with the other thing. It's like, what are the odds that all of these ladies like each other and talk nice about each other and always, you know, connect with each other? Is it genuine or is it part of the job, right? So it's the same here. I don't have a boyfriend either, yes. It's the contract. Yeah, exactly. But it's the same with the actors, right? Like, what they do on the stage is very different than what they are like behind the stage. And I don't think that this is something like John Travolta is interested sexually in this woman, right? I don't think he's trying to seduce her. I don't think he's trying to come on to her in front of the spotlight. Like, why would he do this on the stage? Why can't he do it backstage? You know, where the cameras are trolling. Like, that's where you do the flirting if you're really interested. They're not dudes. I actually do know that. Like, this is something that a lot of people think, that VTube girls are dudes. I do know how some VTubers look behind the scene. And I gotta say, like, as far as I can tell, most of them are actually good looking. There are exceptions. Of course, there are some VTubers that act to be women, but in reality, they're guys. Like, you kind of can tell by listening to the voice. But the thing is, it doesn't really matter, right? Because if you look at VTubers, you look for their entertainment. You're not interested in... it's kind of like Mexican wrestling, I guess. I mean, there is a little bit of mystery, like how do they look behind the scene. But all in all, like, I think the avatar helps differentiate them from e-girls, where people look at e-girls because of their boobylicious body, but people follow VTubers mostly because of the content that they're putting on. You know, the personality, the charisma. And it's a really great time for a bat of culture to have something to say about this. Thank you for the $5. I find it creepy that people literally stop watching VTubers if they find out they got a boyfriend. There was one that did a face reveal and lost viewers. It's the same thing with Mexican wrestlers, right? So Mexican wrestlers, all of them had masks and various personalities. And the moment one would be unmasked, their entire career was over. So it was the same thing, I guess. With VTubers, I don't know. Like, I do think it's the same as gambling, right? So let's say we got Overwatch. Overwatch is actually a really good example for me too. Overwatch loot boxes, okay? And it's not just Overwatch loot boxes. It's any type of in-game randomized currency with microtransactions, right? So you got loot boxes. How many of you bought an Overwatch loot box? Well, actually, never mind. I'm not going to ask that because many of you probably don't even play the game. But my point is, all right, the overwhelming amount of people that play games with microtransactions like Overwatch or League of Legends, they're not going to use their money to buy something. Or if they do, they might use like, $20, $30, and that's it. But there are like those 2%, maybe 3% of the player base that gets addicted to buying this stuff. And they just buy and buy and buy. And I know people who spend thousands of dollars on League of Legends. Or people who spend hundreds of dollars on Overwatch. And that 2% of the community is what keeps driving this business model that most people hate, most people don't like, most people call out. But the reason it exists is because of that 2% of the community that spends a disproportionate amount of money in order to do this because they're addicted, right? Now, when it comes to e-girls, let me put the e-girl on the screen here so you can. And let's put Amaranth or Pokemon. Who do you want? Do you want Amaranth or Pokemon? I'll put Amaranth. Let me see if there's any problematic pictures with her. All right. So I'll put Amaranth on. Okay. Most people, they look at Amaranth and they're like, okay, well, she's a beautiful woman, she's entertaining or whatever. And they watch her stream. And I'm pretty sure like 95% of her community are like that. Like they watch her for entertainment or because, like it's pleasant to the retina. But then you have like the rest of the community that is pathological. And that's a very small minority, but it's enough. Because they think that they're going to have a relationship with her. At some level, like they think that maybe if they donate a little bit more, maybe if they crack up that super chat number a little higher, maybe if they, give that $2,000 super chat, or if they manage to get on the top of her super chat donation, maybe they will get her attention. And maybe they will have a relationship with her. And when they find out that she has a boyfriend, that's when the magic disappears. That's when they realize, oh shit, what the fuck am I doing? And I think it doesn't even start this way, right? Like it doesn't start like, oh, I want to be Amaranth's boyfriend. I think it starts like, I want to have her attention. And when they get her attention, it's like, oh, I want to become friends with her online. And then they talk with her online. And then they want more. They want like, oh, maybe I can convince her to send me some exclusive pics. Or maybe I can convince her to voice chat with me or whatever. So this is why when you have one of these girls ending up having a boyfriend, you have people tuning out. It's because they know it's like, all right, well, if she has a boyfriend, she's never going to talk to me. If she has a boyfriend, she's never going to add me to her, personal circle or whatever. Just gotta take out that fourth mortgage and she'll notice me. Yes, there are literally people like that. Which is like very sad because, like, dude, it has never been easier in the history of mankind than it is now to get sex. Like, if you're willing to spend $4,000 on Amaranth, surely you can find a woman that's going to take less and provide you with that service. Like, you don't need to spend $4,000 on a person you don't know. And then it's like another thing, like, I don't know if Amaranth has a boyfriend or not, but let's assume, like, she doesn't, right? Because there's a lot of other girls that I guess do the same thing, right? Like, they're very beautiful looking, they're entertaining, and they claim to be single. Okay, so my point is, why on earth, like, what type of imbecile, like, what type of moron would be that looks at a woman who appears like this, is charismatic enough to put herself out there, has hundreds of thousands, millions of subscribers, and you think that she doesn't have a boyfriend? Like, what type of imbecile? What type of mouth breather do you need to be? Like, you must be so disconnected to the human experience that you believe a woman that looks like that has no boyfriend. Like, are you insane? Like, what planet are you from? If she has no boyfriend, then she needs an endocrinologist, because she's probably having some other medical issues which prevent her from falling in love or something. Like, I don't know. Maybe she can't have sex. Maybe she's got a penis. Like, there might be other explanations. But none of those explanations would allow you to have a relationship with her. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm ruining your dream, J3. J3, any woman you meet online that is a streamer is in a relationship. I don't understand. Like, it's so bizarre to me. It's so... Because the problem is, like, the moment people find out that their favorite e-girl has a boyfriend, that's the moment they start unsubscribing. And it's like, why the fuck were you subscribed up until that point? That's what I don't understand. Like, if you want to, I get it. Like, maybe you like a girl online, because you're sympathetic to her. Like, let's say you find her content entertaining. Like, you legitimately like her content. So you want to donate because you like her. Good. You should do that. Maybe, you're... Like, she strikes your lizard male brain that operates on pity. Like, she seems to be very poor, impoverished. You want to help her out. Okay, fine. Maybe you'll do that for a guy as well. Those are legitimate reasons to try and help people online. But if you think that you're going to give money to this person, and after a period of time, they're going to reciprocate and they're going to have, like, a meaningful relationship with you, you are beyond delusional. Basically, the way you should think about it is that if you donated to her and you regret it when you find out that she has a boyfriend, then you shouldn't have donated to her. No, but I think I could explain it. So, again, most people, like, let's say someone that donates money to Pokemon, right? And they donate obscene amounts. Like, let's say they donate, like, $5,000 or something. They're not thinking from the beginning, like, I want to be her boyfriend. They're usually thinking, like, if I donate money, she's going to start talking to me in DMs. And maybe, like, at one point she does. Like, maybe she acknowledges them or whatever. And from that point on, they start talking. And they're like, okay, well, maybe if I keep donating money, she's going to show me her pics. Like, show me more, right? Or maybe she's going to have a voice chat with me. Or maybe she's going to do a cam stream with me. And when that happens, they go like, okay, well, now maybe I can meet with her in real life. Completely pathological. Like, dude, no. Alright? Just no. Not to mention, like, how many relationships do you know that have happened between an e-girl and her fan? Like, you had an e-girl which put herself out there. She was very entertaining. And that one fan gave her money, and it ended up with her seeing him, and they got hooked up, and they lived happily ever after. How many times does that happen? I don't think that is a single example, chat. I don't think that I can think of a single... Except, no, wait. There was that girl which said that the person buying her a flying mount in World of Warcraft she's going to have sex with. So that actually did happen. But like that's the only one, and it was like part of the business arrangement. Whatever happened to just being cheap? I don't think like most e-girls even realize just how predatory they can be, right? Because they, especially if it's a teenage girl, like they don't understand what they're doing to the guys. And if she's going to end up having a son, she's going to definitely not want to allow her son to use the internet and find out other e-girls that do what she did when she was young. I prefer to go out, have a drink with the girl, get to know her. She has a sense of humor. If she smiles nice, if she knows how to wear clothes. Oh, okay, Alex. Okay. You got the standards. You got 100 girls throwing themselves at you, and you're like, I prefer to actually get to know you better first, my lady. That's a one of a time thing, not a relationship. I don't know if they had a relationship. So it was actually a very interesting thing, right? Like when Burning Crusade came out, buying a flying mount was very difficult. Like it costed a lot of gold, which it required you to spend a lot of time playing the game. So this girl goes on the WoW forums, posts pictures of herself. She was quite hot. And this is at a time when streaming wasn't a thing. Like, you know, it's the early age of YouTube. So like all of this is brand new. And she says that the person that gives her a flying mount, she's going to have sex with, but like she requires a little bit more, right? So you had to email her, you had to send a picture of yourself, you had to talk a little bit about herself. So basically, like she did what you do on Tinder. Like that's why I really can't judge her that much, because like she did what every girl does on Tinder right now. So basically, like on top of that, she got a World of Warcraft Burning Crusade mount. But like she had a lot of people, right, that sent her their pictures and their profile bio, and you know, and yeah, people judged her for that. But she went like, okay, well, I just went on a date and I got something on top of it. Like how is that a bad thing? And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't really see the problem, considering that there's people using other software for that, like Tinder, right? Like on Tinder, you even get less info about your relationship than she got with the system that she was using. No, a flying mount is like a method of transportation in World of Warcraft. So it's kind of like buying a dragon or something, right? I didn't send my Gmail to her because I didn't have the money to buy a flying mount. Jesus, like those were really expensive. And at the time, I mean, if I was to live in the United States, like why wouldn't I? Like that was a dating opportunity. I was a teenager. I think I was 16 at the time, right? And you get like this other girl. Like at the time, most women didn't like computer games either. Like finding a girl that played the same game you were playing was just unbelievably rare. So yeah, I would have definitely at that age sent her by bio, and I would have offered to buy her a mount. No, not like a bad dragon, no. It wasn't in the catalog. I can't afford the dragon, literally. Let me see if I can find the thing. Like I'm curious how she looked, cause it's been years. So woman buys dragon mount Warcraft. Let's see if I can find it. Warcraft gives new mount for charity. Oh, it was for free, but it was for a different type of charity. Woman buys mount WoW for sex. Let's try that. Oh, girl trades sex for WoW. Trashy. I don't think it's trashy, though. I don't think it's trashy. I think it's like, if this is trashy, every single girl that goes on Tinder, I mean, you know, my God, she was... I remember, chat, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was 14, when I was 16, I remember her to look a lot better. Okay, let's do it like this, chat. How much do you think she would rank between 1 and 10 before I show you the picture? Like, give me a rating on how do you expect, and then let's see how much disappointed you are. It's trashy. Why is it trashy though, right? Like, all she did was do a dating app. Like, she created her own dating app before it was due. See, prostitution, at least in my country, requires doing it as a profession. Like, if it's a one-time thing, that's not prostitution. Same with, like, begging. Like, a one-time thing doesn't make you a beggar. 4. 3. Ooh. Well, she looks like this, chat. She looks like this. When I was younger, I remember her to look a lot better. Like, I preferred the in-game version. Hi, I'd just like to thank the jackasses that thought it would be funny to post my picture over the internet and make 5,000 threads on me on the wall forums. Like, in other words, what she did went viral, chat. She got her epic mount in about an hour. That was very enjoyable for both parties, while all of you idiots probably spend hundreds of hours farming for yours or don't even have them. But, like, the thing that makes me regret defending her is the attitude, right? It's like the attitude. Oh, I'm so smart. You're all idiots. It's like, okay, but why are you smart? Because I have a vagina and you don't. It's like, yeah, but like... You know, that's kind of like insulting someone for not having strength to move an object, right? Just because they happen to be stronger than you. I won't be revealing my name or his, but suffice to say, if I find any of you in-game, I will be killing you 280% faster. Because she's got a fast mount now. Also, my new friend would also like to tell you punks to take a hike. Punks, I'm planning to meet him again later this week. He's getting double value for his gold. In other words, like, the date turned out in a relationship. So talk all the trash you want. I got my epic flying mount and I got laid, which is more than all of you epic failures can hope for. You know, the thing is, like, back then, it actually did hurt, because anyone that played World of Warcraft was radioactive for pussy. Like, no woman would date a World of Warcraft player. It's like, what is wrong with you? Why are you still playing video games? When are you going to grow up? It's not okay to contact this poster with services or other commercial interests. Yeah. Well, you gotta put it in context. Like, this was the WoW community she was talking about. The WoW community of, like, what, 2007? Like, all of these people were virgins. So, it's not like she was completely wrong. When she says that, at least I had sex, I like you guys. Although, like, I remember giving her the lock and key analogy, you know, like, you know what they say, a key that can open any lock, lady, is a master key. But a lock that can be opened by any key is a broken lock. Zug zug. Make her bigger. It wouldn't help if I make her bigger, because the resolution is quite poor. And it's not something that I can fix, considering that back then people didn't have expensive cameras to do high resolution pictures. I know people who paid thousands of dollars to rent a bot in Final Fantasy XI to claim a rare spawn monster for a 1% chance. Dude, like, do you know that EVE Online, it has players that spend millions of dollars for their spaceships? Unironically. So, they go to sleep, right? Like, you buy $1 million spaceship. You go to sleep, and when you log back in the game, the spaceship is destroyed. Apparently, like, that's a feature of EVE Online. If you log out, the ship is still there. So you gotta log out in safe areas, quote unquote. But the problem is, like, when you have a big ship, like a Titan or whatever it's called, even if you log out in a safe area, it's still a big target, because people know, like, oh, well, it's there. Yeah, but that's pretty much what you call buyer's remorse. Although, it depends on the amount of cash that people have in order to buy those ships, right? Because if you have $1 million to buy on a freaking virtual thing in a game, You're probably so rich you don't care if you lose it. They could have bought an actual ticket to space. Not really, because back then they didn't have that offer. And even then, like, I noticed there aren't that many people excited to go to space. I guess, like, number one, it's scary because it's still a new technology. Like, you're in a fucking rocket, you know, and you go to space. There's a million things that can go wrong. And the second thing, it's like, okay, you're in space. Now you're floating. I guess that's cool. Like, it's a weird sensation to be floating, but there's nothing to do in space, you know? Like, you're not going to find romance in space. The food probably tastes horrible because you're eating some bizarre paste. So, yeah, I can see why a lot of people don't want to go in space. Meanwhile, you buy a ship in Eve and you have a million mouth breathers worshipping you and being like, oh my god, you're so cool, you got the spaceship. No one else has the spaceship. Yeah, you're in space, now what, exactly? Is that the radiation? Like, the thing is, like, I genuinely, unironically, wouldn't want to go to space. Like, if the opportunity was offered to me, I would probably be like, nah. I guess, like, it would be interesting if you want to impress a woman, right? Like, you take someone to space with you, and it's, like, maybe someone that enjoys it more than you. But, like, I would rather go on something else, you know? I would rather go visit the pyramids, or I would rather go to an expensive resort than to travel to space. I'm not saying, like, other people should be like me. I guess, like, other people can have more of a desire to be in space, but again, like, there's nothing to do in space, you know, and you can't even return whenever you want. Like, if you go to London and you're bored of London, you can just choose to return. I'd only want to go to space if I can live there. Visiting would be lame. Do you know, like, living in space is dangerous for your health? Like, the human body isn't designed to operate in space. So the more you stay in space, the sicker you get. This might actually be a problem with colonizing planets if that will ever happen. Like, the gravity needs to be so spot on, and the atmosphere needs to be so close to Earth, because otherwise people will just get very sick. V wants to stay under his bridge. No, I would love to visit other places, just not space. Why did Armstrong go? Armstrong didn't go on a visit to space. Armstrong went to space because it was part of his fucking job, and he got paid for it and became famous. Alright, like, it's a difference doing something as a job versus doing something as a pleasure. Yeah, I mean, going to space to work, that's something completely entirely. I would probably take that job. I mean, it's probably very well paid, right? So I would go to space to work, but I wouldn't like going to space as a visit. Please do another communist video, asks Vincent. Like the Road of Bones video you did years ago. Or the recent Grape Leap Forward. Well, unfortunately, not a lot of people watch them. And they take a lot to do. I'm not adverse of doing another communist video, but, like, I would need to have some good content for it. You know, like, I would need to find an interesting subject. Because that's another problem, you know, like, I need to think of something very specific and make a video about that. Can't stay in space. After 6 months, your entire body begins failing. Bone loss, muscle atrophy. Yeah. That's one of the main problems. And it's not even that. Like, even if you manage to fix that, there's even other problems, like circulatory problems. It is funny, though. Like, this is something that I found hilarious. Like, they would talk with astronauts, which went to space. And they would say that when they got back to Earth, they would destroy a lot of ashtrays. Because, like, they were used to, you know, drop the object without thinking that there's gravity. Like, you get used to the concept of no gravity. So you just, like, throw objects around. And you would end up, like, throwing the ashtray. And it would go on the ground and smash. So I found that to be absolutely hilarious. Another thing is, like, what happened to me when I got a puppy. I would pick it up, and then I would let it on the ground, but I would let it as if it's a cat, and the dog would injure itself. Not a lot, you know, like no lasting damage or anything, but it would go like, bow, 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 and I was like, oh shit, oh fuck, okay. So it happened like 2 times before I realized, all right, it's a dog. I need to place it gently. All right, it's not a cat. Because that's what I had. Because I had a cat all my life. And with the cat, you can easily, you know, like from... Like you bend yourself over and you just drop the cat from your hand. You gently drop it on the ground. And the cat is fine because it lands on its feet and it doesn't feel anything, right? It's the normal way of putting down a cat. But with a dog, well, if you do that, it hurts the dog because it's got different bone structure and stuff. Injured itself, bro, that was all you. Yeah, it was me, and I felt like really bad because of it. However, I did learn and I did master the way of placing a dog back down. Was a poor dog, dude. Why the fuck? It didn't even get a bruise. Shut the fuck up. Making me feel even worse. It was fine. Nothing happened. It did make an ouchie, a boo-boo, but like it was fine. Damn it. Yes, V harms dogs when I was a kid. Do I get like a statute of limitation for it? Like if it happened years ago, is it fine? Or do I still get to feel bad after all this time? I pushed the puppy off my lap and just landed on his side and cried. Well, I didn't push it off my lap. It was probably even lower than my lap. Like, I would still bend over to put it down. But, like, I would just drop it. You know, like the way you drop a cat and it lands on its feet and it's fine. But like not with a dog. I did it, like, twice. And then I never did it again because I realized. It's like, okay, this is not the correct way of doing things. Yes, I did kiss it to make it better. Yes. Exactly. Anyway, right. Thank you for watching this. Sorry it was early in the morning. What day is today? Is it Wednesday? Okay, tomorrow I'll be streaming with Viri. Oh, Steve Watt. I was just about to leave. Do you know how bad I feel when I get a super chat just as I leave and I don't get to read it? I would like to go to a safe space and ask the people in the room what their fucking problem was. That would be a funny joke if you're an astronaut. By the way, like another interesting concept. This is something that I didn't know. It's like, why does airplane food taste like shit? Right? So, whenever you go into an airplane, and this is true for all airlines, the food tastes like shit. And there used to be restaurant inside planes, right? So let me see if I can find a plane that has like a restaurant in it. Okay, so this actually used to be an old version of a plane that probably our parents used to fly. So you'd literally just be like in a restaurant, right? Like while flying the plane. Now, the question is, why don't they do planes like this? And the answer is because the food tastes like shit. So the next question is like, well, why can't they make food that tastes good? Okay, this is a mall. This is not a restaurant. Like they took the airplane and they converted it into a mall. But like back then, most restaurants look like this. Yeah, most places look like this. And the reason they stopped making it look like this is just the fact that the food tastes bad. And the reason the food tastes bad is because of the altitude actually changes your taste buds. Like this is so freaking interesting when I found out about it. So you don't taste the salt. Like, they have to overly salt the food for you to actually feel that there is a salty taste in it. Now, again, this is a small modification just by flying commercial, right? Like, you're at a high altitude, and this modifies your taste buds to the point where you can't enjoy the food the same way you do on Earth. But, like, imagine being in space. So this is like the aviation geeks recreating a 1970 airplane. This is how airplanes look like in the 1970s, right? And it's not because of 9/11. There's other countries that have airplanes, okay? Like they, it's just that like it's not commercially feasible anymore. It's just because the fact that like people do not go to planes like so basically you have the choice, right? Like going into a plane with a restaurant and going into a plane without. Like everyone would choose to go without simply because the food tastes like shit. So it doesn't justify the extra costs. The food has to be odorless on a plane. Takes a lot of the taste out. Yeah, I mean, imagine if the food is actually smelly. It is... It is like one of those things, you know, like, it would look nice if there was like an actual restaurant on a plane. But like, yeah, one of the things you do mention is the food odor. I mean, the food odor can probably be fixed, right? Like, there are certain foods that taste really great, and like ramen, for example, you know, that doesn't smell that bad. But or salads. But like, the problem is with the taste. And I'm thinking like, okay, well, if just you fly at a high altitude, and it really modifies your taste buds. Like, if you're flying at a low altitude, if you're in space, it probably... So, going back, like, this is why I wouldn't visit space. Like, there's nothing to do there. Probably, and the things that you have to do are probably really bad. Should just have sleeping capsules on planes. I do agree, like, a sleeping capsule would be a great idea on a plane. Honestly... Having like the turbulence while you're eating is probably really bad. I mean, imagine just having a bowl of soup and all of a sudden you get into some really bad turbulence and the bowl of soup goes everywhere. Anyway, right, I'm going to end the stream now because Steve Watt is leaving, and if Steve Watt is leaving, there's no point in holding this on. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for being here.